welcome to the Bootleg, a Tennessean high school football live show. I'm Tom Kreager, high school sports editor here at the Tennessean. He's Michael Murphy, the high school guru of the Tennessean.
And we're matching tonight.
Matching shirts.
Think of the new threads?
Yeah,
like
something different. Week 6, we are at the midway point, or probably 95% of the teams in the state are at 5 games in.
Yep.
We'll talk about our midseason report in a little bit, but first I want to go back and look at week 5, a couple games, 2 or 3 games. One is still, I've been told the Waverly scoreboard is still smoking, still smoldering from all the points scored in Waverly last week.
117 points. Must have taken forever.
Davidson Academy wins 62-55. Yes, 117 points scored in a high school football game. If you like offense, that would have been the game to go to. It was Stone Norton and Dejuan Hewitt putting on a show, one throwing it, one running it. And Waverly, the Montez Bradley show.
Yep. A lot of running.
More,
Mr.
Bad week to have Gavin Stanfield as your quarterback on your fantasy team, but we won't discuss that. But I do want to discuss Stone Norton and Dejuan Hewitt. I will tell you, a year ago was when I first found out about Dejuan Hewitt, ran all over the place. And I started thinking, throughout the season last year, I was thinking, what happened to Stone? Because Stone was such a vital piece previously.
Yep.
This year, we're seeing Stone throw it.
Yeah.
And talking to Coach Quinn Friday night late, I asked him about that. I said, well, what they're seeing is everyone's loading the box this year to slow down Hewitt. And that's to say, if they're going to do it, we're going to throw the football.
And I think a little bit of Hewitt's success last year might have been because when Stone was a sophomore, he was lighting it up. And I think it's been really hard to game plan against this Davidson Academy offense. And this year, I mean, those two guys have been getting it done. More than 2,000 yards total accounted for and 30 touchdowns between the two.
How many pins do you think you would go through doing stats of a game that was 62-55?
Man, I'm usually a pencil guy, but I would probably wear down at least one pencil. I have to get or mechanical.
And just think if if we had to run like the cards, when we run cards for photos. Sometimes the state championships we'll run cards to help get our photos online quicker. And so, every time a team scores, you grab that card and you run it back to the photo editor.
He's told that's what
I've been told that. I don't run.
I'm kind of the runner
He's the runner. I'm the watcher. So 62-55, that person would have had probably 30,000 steps.
I could skip cardio for a week if I was doing that.
The game you're at, though, Brentwood 31, Ravenwood 28. Can we just call Brentwood the Region 6A champion right now?
Well, they're definitely in the driver's seat. They have a couple teams that are, they're going to have to beat.
There.
Yeah, Independence, Centennial, but I think
Ravenwood.
They already beat Ravenwood, obviously. But I think going into this game, a lot of people thought, whoever won this game was going to be in the driver's seat, and now Brentwood is. I'd say barring any slip-ups, they're probably your region champions. But Brentwood's got a lot of young kids on their team. Sophomore quarterback, I think junior, sophomore main running back.
Junior wide receiver.
Defense, they replaced 11 starters. Coach Crawford told me that on Friday. 11 starters from last year's team on defense.
Well, they had every senior, the whole lineup of seniors a year ago.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, here's the interesting thing. A year ago, everyone thought that Brentwood was going to win the region championship, and Ravenwood won it.
Yep.
Now everyone thought going into the season, Ravenwood was going to win the region championship. Brentwood is in the driver's seat, and really, it's Brentwood, Ravenwood, Independence, Centennial. Those four probably are the best. They all four have legit shots, depending if they get some help and what happens along the way. It will still. It's not decided, but like you said, right now, Brentwood kind of controls their own destiny.
Yep. And Ravenwood was in that spot last year.
Here's an interesting game for you last week. Summit defeats Columbia 30-21, and here's the thing that gets me. Summit was down 21-0 at halftime, and they win this game. And here's the thing that gets me on this. Summit, as you know, they're not going to line it up 5 wide and throw it all over the place.
No.
They are wing T, Georgia Odomegwu, and a few others.
If you're up 3 scores on Summit, you have to like your chances of just being able to run the clock down. They're not a quick strike team, generally speaking. So, when I heard this score at when I was at Ravenwood Friday, I thought, wow, that's almost an insurmountable deficit for Summit.
Yeah, just because of the weather offense. But hey, it was Darian Davis early for Columbia. It was George Odomingo late. Him and some other ground game. Great win for Summit. Shows a lot of resilience, and I think that's a good win for them. A good win for the program.
Must have been quite a halftime speech by Brian Coleman. 30 unanswered points in the final 2 quarters.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would have not liked to have been in that locker room at halftime, or maybe I would have. I just wouldn't have been able to probably use most of the stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if he would have let you videotape it.
If we would have, maybe needed some parts. Now, looking ahead to week 6, biggest game of the week, and I could make the argument this might be the biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the talent, look at where they are in the rankings, where they are in the Super 25 rankings. Oakland hosts Blackman. Oakland's 3-1. They lost to Mighty Maryville.
Yep.
Blackman's 5-0, and let's be honest, Blackman hasn't been tested. This is their first big legit test. We talk so much about the talent. I mean, last year, this is where Woody Washington kind of stood out.
Made a name for himself.
He made a name for himself and got a ton of offers when he picked up 2 passes intended for Trey Knox.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of star power. Just talk to me about the star power.
Yeah, obviously you got the 2 Dandy Dozen guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other stars in this game that are making their debuts in this rivalry that I think might have the bigger say in the outcome, and that is transfer running backs Tamikis Napier and Xavier Myers. Excuse me. Both first-year guys. Both have had great seasons, enjoying their new homes. They've combined for 1,134 yards and 18 touchdowns. That's not to say Woody or Trey won't leave their mark on this game, but I think that running back battle is going to be the most important thing.
And I think you can't also forget our Arkansas commitment, Adonis Ote. Yep. He's having a great season. They got that's at Blackman, and Blackman's got Macadius Elder.
MTSU commit.
He might be the fastest player on the field. But I'm like you, Oakland running back Xavier Myers, Blackman running back Tamikis Napier. To me, that's why they're there.
Yeah.
They want to play in a game of this magnitude.
The big time.
They want to play in a game where this is a state championship type of atmosphere. Now, granted, these 2 teams, this is playing for home field advantage. This is playing for a lot of pride, but this is a chance to, that way, come quarterfinal game, you're going to be at home.
Yeah. It's huge. It's paramount.
Yeah. Other game involving a Rutherford County team. This is a game you're going to be at. We'll have Cecil Joyce at the Blackman-Oakland game. Follow him on Twitter at Cecil_Joyce. He'll be there for that game. And you'll be at Smyrna at Cane Ridge. Is this your Region 5 6A championship?
I think so. I think I've been at Region, this is definitely, I think, going to be for home field advantage. I think these are by far the top 2 teams in Region 5 6A. Smyrna, hot start, lost 2 consecutive to CPA and Blackman. Both great teams, both high up in the Super 25. Bounce back last week, not the prettiest win over Overton. I know they were shorthanded without their quarterback, without running back Blake Watkins. But they got the 18-13 win, stayed unbeaten in region play. This week's foe is pretty good, though. In Cane Ridge, they're off to their second 5-0 start in 3 seasons, and they've been just getting it done on the ground. Devon Starling leading the state in rushing yards through 5 weeks, 1,047 yards and 11 touchdowns. But they got a newcomer, Jaquez Norman, transfer from Milan. He's already eclipsed the 600-yard mark and has 8 touchdowns. So their running game is hard to stop at Cane Ridge.
Last year they threw the ball quite a bit.
Threw it a little bit more. They still got those pieces. They got Corey Andrews at quarterback, Quentin Barnes out wide, who's kind of really starting to make an impact finally. I like I like Cane Ridge in this one. I like them probably pretty big too.
I like, just to go back, I do like Oakland to win that game.
Yep.
I do like Cane Ridge here. Alex Bannister still not known for sure if he's going to play. It was a concussion protocol last week, and in fact, if you saw our plays of the week candidates, sacked Matthew Hall, knocked his helmet off. I believe that's where the injury probably took place. Blake Watkins was out last week for a thing, and he'll be back this week, so they're going to need him a lot. But basically, they won with a third-string quarterback.
And that's the thing about Blake Watkins. I know in the past he's run a little wildcat. He'll maybe attempt to throw it. They might have to get like the Titans and get a little tricky.
Well, he is their backup quarterback, so they'll run wildcat, wild dog, maybe wild bulldog, maybe they call that. So, but I like Cane Ridge. I like a lot of the reasons why you just mentioned on there. Mid-season report. Like I say, we're 5 weeks in. Time for the mid-season report. We're going to talk about a few different things. First thing, let's talk about the good stuff. Big surprises. East Nashville 5-0.
It's yes, they've made it halfway. They're 5-0. Haven't played the meat of their schedule yet, I would say, but they've been pretty impressive, especially defensively. Giving up 7 points in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Before that, they held Maplewood to 20, so they're playing great on that side of the ball.
They got Giles coming up. They got Pearl coming up.
Go to Brainerd in Chattanooga this week. I expect them to win that one.
Yeah.
Then it gets real with Giles and Pearl in the next couple weeks after that.
Montgomery Central 5-0. They might be 5-0 for the first time in school history. I think they are ranked in the state for the first time in school history. 5-0, and this is a team that early on they were doing it with defense. They won identical 10-7 games. This last few weeks they've been scoring over 30 points, so they've shown they can score. I like this team. I don't know how much noise they're going to make in the playoffs. I think they're in that Springfield region. I think Springfield is the buzzsaw this year with Dayron Johnson and Brian Hayes and Keith Jones. But I think this Montgomery Central team is one of the feel-good stories of the season. I think they were 2-8, I think, a year ago, and off to the kind of start that they need to be.
I'm going to have to look back at our 1 through 129 rankings and just see how much we slept on them, because
we're going to blame that on George Robinson, though.
Yeah, definitly.
Yeah, George Robinson. It's all your fault if you're listening. Disappointments. So first, I want to do one plus. Simpsonfelder, BGA quarterback.
Come out of nowhere, man.
Last year, he backs up Drew Martin.
And he played a little bit. He came in, he took a few snaps, meaningful snaps.
But, he has come out of nowhere where no one knew who this guy. I mean, if you would have told me before the season who's going to be the quarterback, I wouldn't have a clue. But he has really emerged into, I know they got their first loss against CPA.
Yeah.
But I want to give him a little shout out there. He has come out of nowhere, and he's a name to know for the next couple of years. Disappointments. Sorry, guys. There are some disappointments. First one I talk about, to me, I mean, as a fan, as a high school football fan, the biggest disappointment I have is, and it's not his fault, but Lance Wilhoit.
Yep.
He has missed the first 5 games with a shoulder injury. A guy that had over 1,000 yards. He was, 247 Sports #1 prospect in the state. He was our #3 in our Dandy Dozen.
Yep.
Fun to watch. Great personality. Great kid. And to have him miss the first half with a shoulder injury, I think they have an off week this week. I think there's a chance he could be back very soon. But it's very frustrating when you look at a kid of that caliber to have to sit out.
Yeah.
With his shoulder injury.
Yeah, and it's frustrating for FRA. Obviously, they got Tymon Mitchell on the defensive side of the ball, but you got to think a player of Lance Wilhoit's caliber would have probably translated to at least 1 or 2 more wins for them.
Independence, 2-3, and this is I say they're disappointed. I thought going in that they would be the chief contender for Ravenwood for Region 668. I thought it would come down to whoever won that game.
And that's at the end of the year, too. Yeah. It was setting up nicely. And that could still be the case.
Oh, yeah.
It's still mathematically possible.
They've got to have, they got Brentwood in a couple weeks. They're off this week, so that's a good thing. They get healthy and everything. But they get Brentwood coming up, then they finish up with Ravenwood. But they've got to win out. They can't afford to lose another region game. They're going to have to get some help. Someone's going to have to beat Centennial because Centennial's got a head-to-head. September 28th is the game versus Brentwood. It's a home game. October 26th is at Brentwood. I'm sorry. October 26th is versus Ravenwood. So they get a chance to they can still do some. I mean, you got to think if they can win out, they got a shot.
If they when you look at their schedule, that's 62 points given up against Centennial. That's just hard to fathom.
Yes.
They haven't given up that many since, but wow, that's hard. That's hard to get past.
Tell me, Indy, I mean, now you're starting to see the Cash Kid play. How much does that change them, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't seen. I hear he's got a big arm.
He had a big week,
haven't
300
seen
yards.
It. But yes, his stat line from, was that last week?
Yeah, over 300 yards passing last week.
That was pretty impressive. I'm safe to say that was a career high. I know he didn't throw it near that much at Summit. I think just having more than one option helps, especially if that your number one guy's going through some trouble. I think the main thing Coach Blade wanted with having these two quarterbacks is in case things go bad, it doesn't have to snowball. You can get somebody else in, and that's if both of them are healthy. I don't know if they're both healthy at this point, but I think two is better than one in this.
We have a question.
Yes.
We're just going to go back to Oakland Blackman from Dwayne Bryant. With so many players banged up, Panel, Wilson, Myers, Jefferson, Moore, and the kicker, do you see that having an impact with the Oakland Blackman game? I think Myers will be fine. Mookie Wilson is going to be the one that's going to hurt them. And then is it Justin Jefferson?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's out with an MCL sprain. That's going to be bad. I think Aaron Moore plays this game. The interesting thing is going to be is can Joe Anderson, is he going to be healthy enough? He's been banged up a little bit. It could make a difference. The big thing is going to be this. I think and we've talked about this maybe in the office yesterday, how are you going to defend the two receivers for Blackman?
Yeah.
I was talking about this, I guess, with Cecil Joyce yesterday. Do you bracket? And here's something to think about. This is, I guess, coaching 101 maybe. Do you bracket Trey Knox, put the opposite of Woody corner on them, put the safety there, kind of double him up, and then have Woody go one-on-one with the elder kid because he's faster, just because of a speed thing? Or do you flip-flop him and you have him play Trey Knox, who's not as fast as the elder kid? Both of them can hurt you.
I think it's a picture poison. I would go best on best, and I think that's Woody on Trey. But again, we're getting a little inside baseball here. I'm more of I just report on it. I don't draw up the plays and all that.
But I think Aaron Moore does play. I think Jefferson's probably out. I think Mookie Wilson, I don't know the severity of his injury, so I can't really comment on that. I think the thing with this Blackman team is they have not seen a test like this. Oakland's been battle tested. They played Independence and whipped up on them. They lost a Maryville team down to the wire. They've got some kids that they've played quite a bit. So the question is, can they overcome that? I think so. I just think there's something about this Blackman offense that just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. I mean, when we run their highlights and you see a lot of times like they'll have one receiver go out, the other side kind of walks around. I don't know how that works against a coach like Kreager. I think they'll have a game plan for that. Maybe that means they flip the safety over a little bit and kind of have him shade over a little bit.
Defensive
I don't know. I'm giving you all sorts of things,
Coaches,
to look at this week. Probably more than you want to know, but I think it's going to be a great matchup. Again, follow Cecil Joyce at Cecil_Joyce for that game. Going to be I think it's just going to be a game, a really strategic game. It's going to be interesting to see some of the strategies if you are into that chess match. Let's see. One more. Since we're talking about Region 3-6A, to me that's a disappointment.
Yeah. When you think back to historically, it's been called I think
SEC,
you've called it that before.
The SEC of high school football. That league has changed a lot with the
Smyrna is no longer there, Laverne, but it ain't the SEC of high school football. It's 1, 2, and then
it's maybe Big 12.
Quite a big drop, and then
it's maybe Big 10. Because Big 10 had a rough week.
Yeah.
And because you got Ohio State and Penn State pretty good. And then after that kind of drops off, that could be
Michigan,
them. We'll call them the Big 10 this week because you got Oakland, Blackman. I'll put those up with just about anyone in
Who's your Michigan, though?
I don't know.
Riverdale?
It's like who's
Cookville?
Maybe. That's the problem. You get those two, then you got a Cookville team that's replacing the whole lineup, Riverdale team that's rebuilding. You got two really, 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 really good teams, and after that, you just kind of
thinking early 2000s Pac-10, where you had USC, Cal, and nobody.
Okay. There you go. So I don't see it. A year ago they swept in the first round of the playoffs. I would be shocked if that happens this year, but I've been shocked before. Speaking of these predictions, we're going bold predictions. Let's talk state championships. We're 5 weeks in. We've got another 11 weeks.
Whew. People say we're halfway. We're not.
We're like
they don't get it.
They don't get there's another season.
Yep.
There's like another season when the postseason starts. Class 1A. Let's go with rapid fire here.
Okay.
1A, who wins the state title?
Greenback. Repeat.
I think it's Greenback, and I think we could see a repeat of Cornersville there. They're playing that well.
Could be, yep.
2A.
Columbia Academy. They win in their final year.
That'd be a good story.
I don't know if it's going to happen. It's such a logjam.
We would like to write that story last year in D1, but I've got Meigs County.
Yeah, that's definitely another. That was a toss-up kind of for me.
I think they went far last year, too.
Yeah, they did.
Quarterfinals, semifinals, somewhere in there. 3A.
I know my Pearl Cone fans aren't going to like this, but I got to go with Alcoa in this one. I don't think they can be stopped this year.
Gary Rankin. Now, maybe the part that puts you on the spot here, could it be Pearl Cone in the final, or does Covington go back? Covington's playing pretty good.
Covington is playing good. I don't think
they go there this year.
I don't think they've played the schedule Pearl Cone's played,
okay.
And I don't know if the location of the game is going to matter as much as maybe it will. I mean,
okay.
I think Pearl Cone. I think they lack that offensive punch in Jamarius Parker that they had, but they have Kendrick Breedlove, Jaden Harrison. Xavier Shepard really hasn't had a chance to show what he can do this year. He scored 5 touchdowns against Giles County, but aside from that, I think he's going to air it out a lot more in the second half of the season. I would expect Pearl Cone to get there.
4A.
Greenville. Dynasty.
I think I'm going to go on a limb. Greenville might be one of the top 10 teams, if maybe even the top 7 or 8 teams in the entire state. With Cade Ballard throwing the football. They have one of those teams that have all this firepower coming back. I think it's just their year. I don't think the best game is going to be in the quarterfinals when they play Stanton Martin in Anderson County.
And speaking of 4A around here, Maplewood and Nolensville might have something to say about getting to the Blue Cross. I don't know if they can knock off Greenville, but they might have a chance to get there.
It'd be an interesting semifinal.
Yep.
5A.
Fulton. Knoxville, man. I got to go with Fulton.
I'm going to go with my buddy Joe Gaddis in Oak Ridge. I think this might finally be their year. Shout out to the best cheerleading coach in Oak Ridge. She knows who she is. 6A.
Oakland. I like the upset. I liked Oakland getting a little revenge in the semifinals. That'll be in the semifinals. The reverse of last year.
Not so fast. Maryville
will
figure it away. Maryville will figure a way. They're going to figure it out. They're going to win it on the road. Derek Hunt, T. Hodge. Derek will have something for them. They'll figure it out. D2, single A.
D2, this is where the mid-state's going to make up a little ground. D2 single A, I like Davidson Academy. I think they got the best offense. Maybe in Nashville.
Should have won it last
definitely
year.
in division. Oh, definitely.
Or at least should have been there last year.
Yeah, it was. I talked to a lot of those guys this offseason.
And that's not disrespecting DCA, who I believe beat them. But,
I think DCA would tell you that.
I mean, on paper, that should have been them.
Yeah, absolutely.
D2 double A.
Who you got in D2 single A? Am I the only one?
Davidson Academy.
Okay.
I agree with you there.
Lausanne.
I go with Lausanne, too. I think Eric Gray is the best running back in the state, maybe one of the top in the country. He is just a hoss to stop, and I think the way it's set, I looked today, I couldn't find it. I think there's a chance you could have if CPA made it that far, you could maybe have a CPA Lausanne semifinal.
That's a shame.
At Lausanne, I believe, maybe. Hopefully not, because if it's at Lausanne, I may volunteer to drive down there. So
that I think would be your championship, and it's a shame if both of those teams don't get to Cookeville. But
and finally, Brentwood Academy D2 AAA. That's my pick. Can anyone beat them?
Make it 4. Yeah, you got to show me. I mean, MUS, Christian Brothers, Briarcrest. We don't really know.
NBA.
We never know how good those teams out west really are. So until we see otherwise,
I'm going to go NBA Brentwood Academy round 4. I think that's
I've been fooled before.
So we went through this list. You gave Columbia Academy some love. We'll wrap it up here. Why can't a Middle Tennessee team win the public school championships, the Division I championships? Right? They've been 2 years in a row. The only one, I guess you did have Oakland. In Oakland, there's a lot of talent in this state, in this area. But why can't we dominate like Knoxville did?
I think there's more private schools in Middle Tennessee. I think there's a lot of those good players that, and for right or wrong, I mean, the kids can go where they want to go. But I think you got the Brentwood Academy, you got Davidson Academy, you got CPA. There's just so many good private school teams, and I think a lot of players end up you're splitting your talent base, I think, more so in Middle Tennessee than you are maybe in East Tennessee, where there's I think far less private schools, especially large private schools.
I think we have a lot more talent in like the 5A region. For us, we really don't have a lot of 5A teams.
We used to till they reclassified and there's just not a ton of 5A schools around here.
Yeah, they keep seeing that. So we don't have as many 5As. 4A, I mean, Greenville's in a tear right now.
Yeah.
And I think our 4As are really, really good 4As are having to go east. So then you ended up those buzzsaws right now in the semis. So interesting debate. We'll see how it pans out, folks. It's been another edition of the Bootleg. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.